Hey guys. Hello. Just waiting for some more people maybe, because we're going to be doing something different, and I have no idea if it's going to work. I mean, it'll work, but I have no idea what the outcome is going to be, and I'm super excited. Hi, Amy. So we're doing a choose your own adventure, which might be like maybe not the right term, because choose your own adventure would lead y'all to have like different paintings, but I know a lot of you still want me to teach. So it's like a choose our own adventure, like we're all going to do it together. I've downloaded an app with a spinny wheel. Hey Ray. So yeah, I've downloaded this app with like spinny wheels. And I came up with like a rough kind of outline of like order of operations of how this is going to go. And we'll see. So what you need right now, supply wise, is something to paint on. Something like all of your paints or whatever you're using, all of your crafty things. So if you're using crayons, dump all the colors out. If you're using markers, whatever, watercolors, get it all good. Get whatever brushes you have. This is like gonna be a use whatever works, whatever makes you happy. And then we're gonna like make some fun art, and I'm super excited. I was telling my mom that we were doing this, and she was like, "Are you doing that just because you didn't want to pre-paint anything?" And I was like, "Well, yeah." I've been like, I had a little bit of a creative block, so I was like, okay, well, let's like all break our creative block together. Hey, Angie. Okay, so the first thing that I'm gonna do, the first thing that I'm going to choose is the orientation of my canvas. Now, if you're using something that's square, you can just ignore this part because it doesn't matter. But I have a spinny wheel, and it's just vertical and horizontal. Those are the only two choices for their first round. So if you want to be doing this and doing your own thing, I'm gonna like tell you all of the choices before we spin and before we choose, and this way like you can maybe choose your own if you don't want to go with what everybody's doing. So if you want to get your own spinning wheel app, you can do that too. It's literally called Spin the Wheel Random Picker on my Android. Okay, so I'm gonna find out if I'm going to, or we are going to do vertical or horizontal. All right. Is that backwards for you guys? It's backwards on my screen, but I don't think it's backwards for you guys. Oh, hey, Becky. Okay, so we're doing vertical. So let me move this guy down a little bit. All right. Now, I'm going to start to, not backwards. Cool. Okay. We're going to start to figure out what we're painting. I'm really excited. So now I have a theme wheel. So your theme choices are landscape, still life, surrealism, which would be like a combination of both, and then wild card. Now, if we spin wild card, I've come up with a wild card wheel of like weird things that we would have to do like stylistically or like tool wise. So if we spin wild card, we go spin that wheel, and then we come back and spin again until we get an actual theme. Okay, so great. Awesome. Okay, let's take a look at my wild card wheel. My wild card wheel choices are, I forgot them. They are, we would paint the whole thing in the style of Van Gogh. We would paint the whole thing in the style of Picasso, which I've never done before. So I've done Van Gogh before, but not Picasso. paint the whole thing upside down or finger paint only. So this should be fun. Oh, thank goodness. That was what I was hoping for. Okay, so we're painting the whole thing in the style of Van Gogh, which would be fun. Okay, so now we're gonna go back to the theme. This might be a longer class, guys. I'm really sorry. All right, back to the theme. Hopefully we don't get wild card again. I'm not spinning wild card again. I'm not doing it again. Okay, we already have our style of Van Gogh. I can't do style of Van Gogh with a finger paint thing. Okay, let's try again. All right, we're gonna do landscape, which is great for Van Gogh. We're doing a landscape in the style of Van Gogh. Now let's decide our landscape background choices. Don't worry, we will start painting soon and then we'll do some things like in the middle of painting. So the choices for the landscape background are daytime, nighttime, space, and sunset. Okay, so we are doing a landscape in the style of Van Gogh during the day. Okay, we need to do a color picker. We need our main color for our daytime background, because just saying that it's blue and it's daytime would be boring. So main color. Orange. Fire engine orange. Okay. And let's get a secondary color just for funsies for our background, because like a solid color background would be boring. And then plus we need to do our Van Gogh stuff. Purple. All right. Daytime Van Gogh background in orange and purple. Okay, so now it doesn't have to be the tones, like the orange and purple tones that were on that spinner. So I'm thinking that I want my main background color to be, oh wait, no, I can't choose. I said the first one was main. Okay, so orange is my main background color. I'm gonna make it lighter though. I'm gonna make it more of like a creamsicle color. So I'm gonna give myself a whole bunch of yellow and a little bit of red. I've got too much orange on my, okay, you do you. Yeah, just because, like I said, just because this is what I picked and what's happening doesn't mean that you have to you can still follow the style of the painting if you want, but you can, there's no rules here, guys. But I think this is gonna be interesting. All right, so I'm gonna make myself like a whole bunch of this creamsicle orange. I grabbed myself a new canvas for this painting because I was hoping it was gonna come out really cool and I want to keep it instead of painting over it. So I'm just gonna grab my big brush and I'm gonna mix myself a shade of orange and I'm gonna paint the whole canvas. Oh man, I forgot that it was vertical too, dang. Usually traditional landscapes are horizontal. All right, so I'm just gonna mix this color. I like that you guys are enjoying this so far, even though we haven't started, and you'll probably be cursing my name at some point, I'm sure. Oh, that's a pretty color. This isn't really orange though. It's kind of salmon-y. There we go. So if you don't have orange paint and you haven't mixed orange before, it's yellow and red. I'm using a significant amount of white because I want it to be a little bit more creamsicle toned. That's pretty. I definitely did not mix enough. If you are using a stretched canvas like I am, don't forget to paint the outside edges, which I'm going to do just in case this comes out really cool and I want to hang it up. I am going to try my darndest to make this like a solid background and not have streaks in it, because we're going to add that like Van Gogh whimsical quality to it. So I don't want like too much else going on. But if I can consistently not mix enough paint to do this background, then I'm going to have 17 different shades of orange in my background. So I'm not going to say any spoilers, but you know me, I like to talk about TV while I do the background. I just binged. It didn't even feel like a binge because there was only 8 episodes. Like I thought there was going to be more, because I don't pay attention to news articles and things. But I just binged Lucifer, and I don't know how I feel about it. So, but no spoilers. Don't put any spoilers in the chat in case people haven't watched it yet, because it only came out 2 days ago. But yeah, I have mixed feelings, which is also how I felt about season 4. So there's that. And I think I'm probably going to start Umbrella Academy this week, because I need to watch that too. I was just going to say Lucifer and not to spoil it. Yep. Now you might be wondering why I'm painting the whole background this color, when we don't know like what is actually going to be in the painting. But I like to just, I just need to paint in layers. Like I really just feel like you need to get paint on the canvas, and then it's almost like priming it. Like even if we end up covering this all up, I just need that base to go off of and to build off of. I prefer it that way, at least. If I knew exactly what I was painting, then I'd be like, no, we can cut this in half and just do the sky this color, you know. But I don't know what's going to happen, so gotta have some color everywhere. I haven't gotten to watch it yet. Yeah, I don't know. Like, I don't want to say this because, like, I'm super happy that it got saved, but I haven't really loved Lucifer since it got on Netflix, because I feel like they're, especially the 4th season, less so this season because it was more planned, but like I feel like they're trying to cram a 20 to 24 episode season into a Netflix style season, and it just feels weird. The pacing is weird. I don't know, but that's just me. Sorry, I just want to get my edges here. Oh no, I got paint on my leggings and these are not my painting clothes. Why am I wearing my non-painting clothes while painting, you may ask? Good question. Well, I guess these are now painting clothes. they had a hole in them anyway, but I had this plan. I saw this thing on, I think it was TikTok or maybe it was like a YouTube, like a 5-minute crafts thing, that if you took a pair of leggings that maybe you didn't love how they looked as leggings or whatever, and you like cut the crotch, like cut a circle in the crotch out of them, they can then be like a long sleeve crop top. And I was going to turn these leggings into that, but now I have paint on them. I mean, I could also just wait for it to dry and then paint black paint over it, and then nobody would know. Okay, almost done. And our secondary color is purple. Now I have to decide, I think I'm going to do multiple shades of purple because it says that it's daytime, so I don't want to just do dark, but if I just do light purple, it might blend in too much with this lighter background color. So I think I'm going to do a dark purple and a light purple because you need a bunch of colors for that Van Gogh like aesthetic anyway. Okay, and then I'm just going to kind of go back over real fast and do another quick little blend. And I like to do this with a solid colored background just to move any excess paint around so it's not like super thick anywhere. I always like to just kind of drag my brush across it. Sometimes I like to do it going in the opposite direction too, like against the grain that I've been painting, just to like really blend it out. So it just kind of like, I don't know what it is, but I enjoy it. Just smoothing it out. Okay, and we're gonna have to give this a little bit of time to dry before we go in with our Van Gogh Swirly Sky. So while that's drying, adds character. It just means you can now paint them into a pattern. Blue and red mix looks black, not purple. Add more red. Yeah, if you used a lot of blue, it might be like, it might look kind of black. Okay. I'll let that dry for a second. Now we're gonna pick our landscape mid-ground element. So there's a background, which is like your sky, and then there's a mid-ground, and then there's a foreground. So we're gonna pick our mid-ground element. I chose, your choices are trees, a cabin, or a boat. Those are the only three I came up with. Okay, maybe we'll do two of the three. We'll see. Trees, okay. Van Gogh does trees. Oh, we gotta find out what color these trees are gonna be. Okay, so now we're gonna go to our color picker because green trees would be boring. I've learned to get my blow dryer. Yeah. Okay. What color are our trees going to be? Okay, that's like an aqua. That's gonna be cool. Okay, so like a teal trees. All right, I can dig that. All right, I'm going to mix some purple. So I'm gonna be almost out of blue, y'all. I already got some red left over, so I'm gonna get myself some blue. And now purple and orange are both secondary colors. So when you mix them together, they're going to be a little muddy. So I definitely want this to dry. Now it is daytime also. So in order to illustrate that it's daytime, I think we need a sun. So that's just me. Like, I'm not going to spin something about that. Actually, did I have a thing for that? No. Okay. That was the daytime thing. Okay. So we're going to put a sun in there. In order for a sun to show up on this background color, I'm going to make it have like a white background first. So I'm just going to take my brush. I cleaned it. I dried it off. I'm going to grab some white. And where do I want this sun? I think I want it over here. So I'm just going to make a little circle right there. I'm going to go over it with yellow in a minute, but that's going to show right there. And then I'm going to mix some purple here. And I'm going to mix 2 different shades of purple. So I'm going to have a dark purple and a light purple. And I do think that in general, my preference is to be on the warmer side, so more red than blue. But that's just a personal preference. And I am going to, even in my dark purple, I am going to mix just a little bit of white in there because it needs some help. It needs something in order for it to show up on this background. So that's my dark purple. It's kind of like maybe like a mulberry color. And then I'm going to take a whole bunches of white and make a lighter purple over here. Okay. Now, I don't think we've done a Van Gogh style painting before. I have. I don't think we've done it in our Quarantine Creatively classes. So I'm going to take a like skinnier round brush. I think this guy, my Spencer brush. And I'm going to start, I always like to go with this, I like to go dark to light. So I'm going to start with my darker purple. And it is helpful. I'm just going to like freehand this, but it is helpful to kind of like get an idea of where your swirls are going to be centered around. So I'm just going to say there's going to be a center like right here, and then maybe one right there, and maybe right there. So just a tiny little dot, just so that you have an idea. I need to mix more of this color. And what we're going to do, you're going to want to have a decent amount of paint on your brush because if you don't have enough paint on your brush, your bristles will separate and then you won't get that like solid dashed line vibe. So I'm just going to follow it once in a circle. So I start at that middle and I'm going to go boop, 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 boop. And I'm going to decide where I'm going. Now, you can start out nice and neat, but it's going to get messy as we go. So I'm just going to pull it around, and then maybe I'm going to pull it out this way. And this one, I'm going to go in the other direction. And this one, it doesn't really matter what direction. So we're just boop, 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 boop. It could be dots. I like the dash thing. And as we go, like once you lay out your kind of idea for this guy, for the swirls, it's going to go much faster. Like it needs to go faster to get that style. So I'm going to And I kind of like that my orange is still a little bit wet because it like lessens the severity of the purple. Okay, so now I want to go in. I think it needs one here too. Okay. And again, everybody's is going to be different. But now I'm going to go in and I'm going to kind of like beef these up a little bit. Keep in mind, we're going to have other colors too. So we're going to have that light purple and then, you know, maybe some others. So I'm just going to add some layers. Do you see how fast I'm going? You want to keep that shape, but you really like, if you sit there and you plan every single dot and dash that you put in there, you'll be here forever. And we don't need to or want to fill the entire sky quite yet, because we do have those other colors. So we're just kind of following that line. And if you get to a place where your two swirls meet, you get to decide which one keeps going and which one stops. So like this one, I kind of decided is in front, so I'm just pulling from there. So you don't want to like paint over each other, if that makes sense. We're just adding layers to our swirls. And I'm leaving some space. I want some space. I'm gonna also throw some purple up here. Just kind of like dancing around the moon maybe. I mean the sun. Okay, so now I'm gonna get my lighter purple. And I'm gonna go over the same areas. So your light purple can touch your dark purple. It can also be on its own. So like right here, I can do its own layer or two. It can go inside and it can go on top. So it can wrap itself into or it could have its own layers. You could do it all. You do want to try to keep some sense of order between your swirls. Like you should still be able to, and we're gonna, if you lose the ability to see the different swirls, we're gonna fix that, so don't worry. But the goal is that you should be able to tell which direction your swirls are going. Okay. Now I'm gonna wash my brush off. And I'm gonna just grab some, I don't have very much clean white. I should probably get some clean white. I'm gonna grab some white. I'm gonna need some clean white. And this is gonna help kind of separate our swirls a little bit and also make them pop. Ah! Did anybody else just watch me get, you can't see this, but there's paint all over the place. Okay. Good job, Eliana. Good job. And you can also go back in with your darker purple if you need that separation. Like this is kind of like a layer deal. Okay, but I've got some white, some clean white now. And so I'm gonna go in and I'm gonna kind of like, I'm gonna use the white a little bit more purposefully. So I'm gonna try, and it's gonna pick up the purple and your colors are all gonna kind of like blend and get married together and it's gonna be pretty cool. Hopefully your orange is like 90% dry at this point. But it's okay if it picks up a little bit of it. And I'm just gonna put a little bit of white in this guy. You don't have to put the same concentration of colors in each of your swirls. Let them be different. And you can kind of like go in there into the middle and put like a dot in the middle so it's not empty. I'm gonna put some white around my sun, which I will add some yellow into once we get the yellow in there. And just kind of like, just go with it. Just like drag your brush through the paint and see what happens. If you don't have these like beautifully distinct swirls, that's cool. Watch now, paint later. Okay, you can do that. That's fine. Okay, now what I'm also gonna do, while I have this white on my brush, I'm gonna go back into my orange color and just make a much lighter orange. And I'm just going to kind of fill in, it might be a little too light. I still want it to be orange. Yeah. Just gonna fill in any gaps that I have. It adds just a little bit of texture back into this sky where maybe we thought we were done. I didn't leave that many gaps, I guess. Maybe like right here. And right here. We don't want like any empty spots. So we want there to be this texture wherever you look. So if you left any spaces, you can fill those spaces in with a lighter version of your background. Just so that there's a little bit of texture. And if you need to go in with this color to give yourself some separation in some places, like maybe I want to separate right there. It's totally up to you. All right. I'm gonna clean my brush off. And I'm gonna go in with some yellow and paint that sun, but I do still want to grab some white, even though I think that white is still wet. I'm gonna mix some yellow and some white together to make a nice pale yellow. I'm gonna go in on my sun. Now I know I didn't spin for this color, but the assumption is that there's an yellow sun. Hey, maybe you want an orange sun. That actually would look really cool, like a fiery orange. That would look cool too. Maybe I'll do both. Okay, so I'm gonna go around here with the yellow and just have it be glowy. Still with that little dot guy. And maybe I'll add some into, now you want to do this sparingly and preferably not on top of wet purple, because yellow and purple are opposites on the color wheel, so they will make a nice brown if you mix them. So I'm just going in here and adding a splash of yellow. But hey, I kind of like that idea of that fiery orange, since we did actually spin an orange. So I'm going to make an intense fiery orange here, which is just going to be a lot more red than yellow and not as much white. And do I want to put it in the middle of the sun or on the outside? Yeah, maybe in the middle. So I'm just gonna. Now this is completely optional. Whatever you're feeling. And then maybe I'll put some fiery orange, and I can put some fiery orange in here. I think this will look really cool with the turquoise trees we're gonna have. Okay, I dig it. All right, so now we've got some teal trees we gotta do. I keep saying turquoise, teal, aqua. It's really blue-green, whatever blue-green means to you. So I'm gonna grab, I already have blue out there. I need more yellow though. So I'm gonna mix myself some blue-green. And you can go more green or go more blue. You can make it really pale. Again, we do need two different colors though. So I'm gonna make a dark one and a light one. So let's see here. I'm gonna make a dark one over here. And I'll show you why we need two. And I'm gonna grab. Now even the dark one does need some light, again, to help cover up what's going on in the background already here. So definitely make sure that you've got some white in there with your blue and your green, and your yellow. If you already just have green paint, you can skip the blue-yellow combo and just make whatever you'd like. Okay, so I went with like that color. That's my dark color. And then for my light one, I'm just gonna mix some more white in there, I think. Because I want it to be like the same color, but two different tones. So, let's see here. I said trees, right? And then we have foreground elements that we haven't spun for. Okay, so Van Gogh style trees. What I'm gonna do is I'm gonna go right below where I kind of ended my sky. And I'm just gonna give myself like a horizon line. And then the trees, he does these like twisty, like turvy kind of, guys, I don't know how to explain it. They kind of look like soft serve, soft serve ice cream. So I'm going to put one right here. I feel like there's not a lot going on right here, and I kind of would like to break this painting up a little bit right there. So I'm just gonna go in and kind of wiggle. And it's gonna start pointy at the top and get wider at the base. And then I'm gonna give myself another smaller one here maybe. And maybe one right here. And they can go in all different directions. And then maybe I'll just do like some little guys. I'm just using the shape of Spencer to kind of like stamp some triangle-y shapes. I just want to like fill this out and make it kind of look like a complete landscape, you know? So I'm just filling this out, flushing it out. We're still gonna put our second color in there. But if you have this rounded pointy brush, you can just kind of like dab them and make them all different heights and shapes and widths and all that. How do you make turquoise again? So it's blue, green, white combo. Whatever shade that looks like to you. Mine ended up being a little bit more green than maybe I was even intending, but that's fine. I used yellow, like blue, yellow, and white to make like a blue-green. And then I'm going to take some more white, maybe a little bit more blue, because I did want this to be kind of cooler tone than it is. And I'm going to add, yeah, see, like that's the color I wanted. Okay. I'm going to add some accents in now. So I'm going to go on the opposite and do like the opposite shape on my trees. Oop, that one had a big chunk of white in it. And you'll have to go back in with your darker shade and soften it and swirl it together. You're just going to kind of work with these two colors until you like what they look like kind of married together. We can make them a little bit bigger. And you can even add this lighter color into the bottom here. I'm just going back and forth between a lighter and a darker shade of this like aqua turquoise vibe. Mm-hmm. And you can even take like some actual white if you feel like you just need to kind of like accent these wiggly shapes. There aren't too many rules here. Here, I'll scooch you guys in just a little bit so you can maybe see. And I'm just kind of like blending these two colors together, but also letting them exist by themselves. kind of like a braid, but like a little bit loosey-goosey because we don't need to like actually look braided here. We're just kind of mixing multiple tones of the same color together so that it gives it some texture. All right. I feel like it needs like a deep. It needs to be more contrast. So I'm gonna go in. I'm gonna make a deep version of this color, which is gonna be a lot of blue and just a little yellow and just a little white. And I'm just gonna kind of give it some contrast, mostly around the edges, kind of like where it's meeting the background. Just feel like it needs something to help it pop against that background. Okay. Cool. All right, so we've got our turquoise trees. Let's see here. Landscape, foreground elements. So now we're kind of going to decide what's going to go here. I don't know how I came up with these, but the choices are, and maybe we'll do two. I think we're going to do two landscape foreground elements. So the choices are grass, rocks, fire, sand, and water. So those are your choices: grass, rocks, fire, sand, and water. So we'll spin it once. Water. Okay. Awesome. Let's find out what color our water is going to be. Okay. Well, that's the same color as our background, so that's convenient. Let's find a secondary color, like a reflective color. Although, in theory, it should be purple, but we're going to let the picker decide. All right, we've got like a dark blue. All right, so that's our accent color to our orange water. And then let's pick a second. God, I hope they don't. I don't even want to put out in the universe what I don't want the second one to be. All right, second foreground element. Rocks. Okay, that's convenient. Let's see what color our rocks are going to be. Black rocks. Okay. And let's see what color we're going to highlight the rocks with. Turquoise. Okay. That works for me. Okay, so we've got our watercolor already there, but we're going to accent it with dark blue. And you can use the blue like right out of your tube, or I'm probably gonna mix a little bit of white in it again, just because blue and orange are complementary colors, so they will make like a very muddy thing. So I've got some blue and some white together until it's like a denim-y color. And what I'm gonna do first is I'm just gonna like clean up this horizon line a little bit. So I'm just gonna go up here. Okay. And then I'm just gonna kind of like, I did not mix enough blue. So I'm just going to give myself some quick little water lines here. We don't want to cover up all of our orange because that's our main watercolor. And I will probably do a couple of shades of this blue. Just because I do want a little bit of texture here. So I'm going to grab a little bit more white and kind of just now I like to kind of like concentrate it in one shape, so that shape is kind of like a triangle going down, but you can add your blue sporadically throughout. And what's cool about this is, now if you're feeling adventurous, after I just told you not to mix the orange and blue, if you're feeling adventurous and you want to mix the orange and blue, you can make another like background shade that maybe is a little bit more orangey, a little bit darker, and you can kind of go in over it. Now, when it mixes together, you may not like it. So I'm trying to just kind of, yeah, see, like it gets really muddy and I'm not a fan of that. So maybe I'll just kind of go where there's not too much happening. And this is optional. You can just stick with what you've got. As far as the blue on top of the orange, you don't have to add this other orange shade in. But I like to complicate things, so why not? And maybe I'll grab a little bit more white on my brush so that there is some streaks of white happening as well. I like texture, especially in a Van Gogh style, because you want like layers of color. I've read a lot about Van Gogh, and nothing is like 100% known for sure about him. But there's a lot of different like medical kind of explanations for why he painted the way he did and certain things. So, which I won't go into. You can do your own research and form your own educated or hypothesized opinions. But I just think it's like, I think it's really cool to paint in his style or to paint in any style that just takes things a little bit out of the norm, because like normal is boring, and like painting or doing something just like everybody else because that's how it's done, like that's not a thing. Why is that a thing? So I'm gonna take some white now and just kind of marry everything together. Again, I didn't spin for white, but it's just kind of given to me, you know. I decided that white was a color I was allowed to use without spinning. And you can drag your brush through. As you drag though, that orange and that blue is going to mix, and I'm actually kind of liking it. In some areas. You don't want it to mix everywhere because then it would just be one big muddy mess. But having the hints of blue in your orange and the hints of blue, like I have so many different colors on my brush right now and it's kind of coming through and I kind of like it. This is also a thing that you kind of have to know when to stop, which I might not. So. All right, and now I'm looking at it and I'm like, well, I just covered up all my blue, so maybe I want to add more blue in there. I'm going to wash that orange out of my brush first. And I'm going to get some more blue, just a little bit. And kind of top up my blue areas. The blue is the darker of the colors, so as long as you have a decently dark blue, it will probably eat up anything you've got going on underneath, so you don't have to worry too much about like it mixing and stuff like that. I'm getting that brown shade because the blue will just eat it. All right, so we've got water, orange water with blue accent. And I focused it down in this triangle shape, but I kind of went all over with it. And then we've got rocks. We're gonna have black rocks with a turquoise or like a blue-green accent. So I'm gonna give myself some black. And now you can put as many rocks as you want. I'm gonna use them just in the corners, I think. I feel like I need something nice and dark to kind of like ground the corners of these. So I'm just gonna take some black, and maybe, do I want it to be black or just like a really dark gray? I feel like maybe really dark gray. So I'm just gonna mix a little bit of white in there, just because I feel like that, just like toning it down that little bit goes more with the color scheme of what I've got going on. So I'm just gonna go in the corners, and I'm gonna roughly add some shapes in there that can be interpreted as rocks. So and your rocks can be whatever shape you want. We've done, actually, I think the first painting we did had like rocks in the water way back when we started this. So kind of similar vibe. And I'm just gonna go over here now. I don't want them to be the same, so I'm gonna make this one a little shorter. Because you want them to be like balanced, but not symmetrical. I mean, maybe your rocks are symmetrical, that's fine. This is just a personal preference for me. Okay, and then maybe, do I want to add another one? Maybe I'll add a few smaller ones. You just hang out in the water. And they'd be like kind of flattish on the bottom because they're in the water. Okay. Maybe I want to take a little bit of this up into my horizon line, like just on the edges here. Like on the, yeah, I like that. Okay. Just something to split that up. I'm not even going to go all the way across. I just want to pull that color in elsewhere. I love everything about my painting, but the trees, they turned out weird. Okay, well, we can revisit the trees. I can like zoom in a little bit and you can revisit the trees. Okay, so turquoise highlights on the rocks. I'm not gonna wait so much for them to dry because I kind of want it to blend in. And I don't want to go too light on the highlight. Well, the rocks are wet, so it's kind of gonna help to tone the highlight down anyway. But I'm just gonna go in there. It doesn't have to be an outline. It doesn't have, it can be like demonstrating that there's multiple layers of rocks happening here. We're just they're just kissing tops. Giving your rocks some texture with turquoise. Oh, I like this. I like this a lot. you're really just adding some texture into your rocks. That's pretty sweet. Okay, let's, I'm not super happy with my trees either, so let's kind of see if we can, if you have to go, it's been an hour, so I totally get it. If you're happy with yours, we have reached the conclusion. If you want to add like I'm looking at my sun and I'm like, oh, I wish there was more white up here so I can add more white. You can kind of go in and touch up. But please, please, please post yours on Twitter because I really want to see it. But if you're not super digging your trees or you'd like some more assistance or guidance or just want to kind of chat with me some more, you can hang out and I'm going to go over the tree situation. So it's kind of like, I don't know that I explained it perfectly the first time. It's more like a braid. So we have that swirl, but you can't like swirl one side and then swirl the other right on top. Like it has to go in and out. So it's like a weave, like a braid. How am I going to zoom in? Hold on. If my computer falls while I pull this table closer, I'm sorry. Okay, that's probably as close as I can get it. So let's take a look here. I am going, so like this one right here, I want it to be a little lighter. This one right here is going to pull this way, but then it's going to disappear under this one. And it could come back up here. And then it might reappear under that one. So then you go get your darker shade of teal or turquoise, and then you can kind of like tuck that around. Okay, so I'm going to tuck it around here. I realize what I did now. I'm going to go back into the light shade and pull that across. And then we can grab some white and just kind of accentuate the twisty twirliness of it. Remember, this is not a photorealistic thing. So you can really, like, as long as it's got this like spinny kind of vibe, you can really go in and layer to your heart's content. That's generally what I like to do. I just like to kind of layer. Oh, I like that. I don't know if you can see that. Just kind of like swirl, but it doesn't have to be precise. There are some things that are just like hard to explain because they're so fluid, that like you can really just make your own rules. I mean, that's most of art, is making your own rules. But yeah, like this tree, this one's kind of a mess. So let's see if I can clean it up a little bit. Okay, I went a little lighter with that one. That could be cool. My palette is also a mess right now, and I'm just making a whole bunch of different colors mixed together. But again, that's kind of half the fun. Making a mess. Some. Okay, yeah, I think I like that now. All right, you guys survived. Got it. Hi, Becky. All right, we're done. Sorry, we went a little bit over. I can't wait to see what you created. I hope you guys liked this. This was like really different and fun. I enjoyed it. So there's that. But yeah, I will see you guys next week. I think, yeah. And I'll try to paint something ahead of time, and we won't do a surprise painting. But I want to see these, so post them on Twitter, use the hashtag, or just tag me, or both. And I love you lots. Bye.